Alright, I'm going to hit record. Alright. So what's up everybody, this is Ruben Garcia, and this is a beautiful day. And today on the Proven by Ruben podcast, we have Ashley, the founder of Pressed, downtown Fayetteville. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Absolutely. So if you could tell everyone who's listening who you are, what you do, how you do it, and all that good jazz.
Yeah, I'm Ashley Thompson, so I own Pressed Creative Space. We are a retail store in downtown Fayetteville, and we specialize in brands that have a story to tell, unique items. Really our goal in the store is to kind of create a unique retail experience. We want to be a destination retail store.
Gotcha. So I like that you said, that you bring in brands that have a story to tell.
Yes.
So I might pick your brain a little bit earlier in this podcast because I'm getting a brand made right now, and I'll show you a picture of it, and you just let me know if it's even telling my story or I might pick your brain a little bit in this podcast.
Oh yeah, that's
maybe.
Fine.
So what got you started in press, like the beginning, and what your vision was and all that?
Yeah, actually I started and I had a branding and marketing company for about 3 years.
Here in Fayetteville?
Yes.
Oh, cool. What was it?
Smash Creative Services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we changed over to Press Branding, and then we kept the Press name for the store.
Nice.
And kind of rolled those together.
Okay.
So design has always been a big background of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I always wanted to have like the retail store. I had a lot of retail clients, so I learned a lot about what to do, what not to do, especially with the marketing, which is a huge part of it.
Oh yeah.
And then a building became available, and I wasn't really ready for it, but I kind of jumped in and signed a lease the same day.
What? Oh, really? The same day?
Yeah, my husband didn't know anything about it.
Oh my gosh. What did he do when he found out?
He really didn't have much time to react because I was like, by the way, we have to move out this weekend, and we're living in it. So.
So you're living upstairs?
Yeah. So we had to
cool.
move our house, and we opened the business in a 24-hour time span.
Holy moly. Well, how what was he good with it? Was he like, oh my gosh, but okay, I get it.
He's used to it.
Yeah, he's fine, right? Like,
yeah, and he knew the branding and marketing business is really great, but you can get burnt out in that really fast.
Yeah.
I liked the creative outlet, but the store has been like my passion project, my dream.
Right.
So when I saw that opportunity opening up, he knew I didn't want to wait for it to pass us by.
Yeah, so it's been something that's been on your mind for a while. And as soon as the opportunity came up, you jumped.
Yeah.
What when you found out about the opportunity, what was your? Now we know what happened, right? You signed it same day, but when you saw that opportunity and your dreams and everything got in my mind, I'm envisioning got slid across the table. Here's the paper, sign here. How did you feel in that moment? Like, oh my gosh, is this real or?
Yeah, a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Kind of like, wow, I actually just did this. Now the real work starts.
So you went for it. You didn't even you just signed.
Yeah.
And then after that, you were like, you know what? This is when the real work starts.
Yeah, and sometimes I operate better that way. I have to make that leap and that commitment.
Yeah.
And under pressure, I will make great things happen.
Absolutely. Have you heard of Grant Cardone?
No.
Grant Cardone. So in one of his books, 10X Rule, Be Obsessed, I think is one of them, and all these others. And in there he says, commit first and then figure it out. Commit first and figure it out. And that sounds like that's your plan as well. And it sounds like it's working out.
Yes, it is. I've gotten better at planning things out ahead of time a little more. But
Yeah, like you said you had something planned this weekend, so I'm sure that, the blues and, what was it, the blues?
Blues and Brews.
Blues and Brews, that's right, yeah, cool, okay. So you open up the business, you move your whole house into or above the business. What were some of the first challenges that you saw in the first week of opening this thing?
A lot of it was kind of revamping my entire business plan, because I kind of had the plan in my head and working, but I didn't even know the location. So once we got the location, it was kind of catching up to figure out how do we get a register, how do we get, really simple things. I have to make sure that, the electricity gets turned on. So it was a lot of those little tiny details that you don't see from afar that were kind of buried in the beginning to get the doors open.
Yeah. Did you have help?
Not really. So I had a business counselor that helped a lot.
Gotcha.
At
Here,
Seed.
Seed.
Yes.
That's how I heard from. That's how I heard of you.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Seed's my favorite, and
Yeah.
I started working with them even when I did my branding company.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So they were
man,
there
they saw
for
your
it
whole
all.
story.
Yeah.
Cool. So you had them working with you.
Yep. But then as far as working in the store, it was just myself, mostly 7 days a week, every day for the first. I literally worked the retail part of the job too by myself 7 days a week for at least the first 6 months before
Yeah.
we hired anyone.
Yeah. How was that? So is this your first time in your other business? Did you hire any employees, or is this your first time hiring an employee?
Yeah, my other business, we had 2 graphic designers,
Oh, okay.
an assistant, and a social media person.
Is that business still active?
It isn't. We kept it active for quite a while, but the store started growing so fast that my husband and I kind of went all in on that.
Right. Or do any of them work with you now at Prest?
Actually, a lot of them, one started her own company, and
Oh.
another one works
You did good.
locally. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She went out and built her own.
Exactly. So now I have someone to refer all of our old clients to, and it's a really great relationship.
Cool. Do you guys ever work together on any projects? Say if Prest wants to do something, then there they go. There's you're someone who can kind of push it through the marketing side. Do you guys ever collab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. And she's done, we've had some of our designers do graphics for us. Some of our other old employees actually would work in the store during events and things like that.
Right.
But they're all military, so they are coming and going.
Yeah.
So some of them moved away, and now some are actually moving back.
Oh, that's cool. So when you were starting off Prest, downtown Fayetteville, if you haven't been there, go there. What was, now you said you kind of ran into like the electric and getting that put on and other things. What is something that we may not know that you struggled through in the beginning that you've kind of come out on top on, but what was that in the very beginning that you may have struggled in that we may not know?
I think the hardest part was actually like the fear part of it. After the first week or so, I started getting that, what did I just do?
Yeah.
I'm gonna open and nobody's gonna come.
Yeah.
People are gonna walk in and no one's gonna buy anything. This sounds great to me, but how is it really gonna be received? So a lot of kind of self-doubt and fear, and just you don't have that support system yet.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't see the results right away, so the confidence isn't there.
Yeah. And then, it quickly went away after we opened. Yes.
What were some of the factors to make fear go away?
We got lots of great feedback as soon as we opened the doors, and we had a lot of great people in the community who were really supportive. We were put in the newspaper 3 or 4 times right when we opened. We had lots of people really kind of marketing for us,
Yeah.
which I couldn't believe. I never would expect that from anybody. So when I would see people posting pictures in the store and things like that, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And some of these people, I didn't know who they were, and I was like, oh, people I don't even know are posting about us.
It's interesting because you had something special that resonated in you for a while, and then only until you committed, signed the paper, then freaked out, were you able to really show the community what that was burning inside of you, and everyone, or it seems like a lot of people within the community loved it and started spreading your word, and they saw what you did within Prest and just started telling everyone. It's interesting to see how it lived in you. You were kind of feared to kind of throw it out there, but you committed, you threw it out there, and then the community embraced it.
Yeah, I was so used to in the branding world helping other people do that.
Yeah.
So I was never the one with the spotlight on them. I was always the one pushing other people
Yeah.
to get their brand out there. And then when it's your own, it's different. It's harder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what were some of the in the very beginning? What were some of the wins? Stuff that you just like that with the community, just embracing you. What else? What else in the very beginning was like, oh my gosh, this was worth it?
I think I was really lucky that I had the branding background, because right away we were able to kind of articulate a vision and a mission, and we knew that it was more than just selling stuff to people. We knew it had to be more than that.
Right.
So I knew to speak from my purpose because that's what people would resonate with.
Right.
So that was a big win because even today I'll see people walking around the stores giving tours to newcomers or their family or their friends.
Yeah.
And they give a better tour of our store than I do. I hear them like explaining the products, and I hear them explaining how we opened, and I hear them like telling our whole story. And these are people that I don't even know that well, so it's heartwarming. I really like it, but it's surprising.
Where are they hearing your story?
Social media is really where we went all in on.
Gotcha. Because where I found well, obviously I saw you guys downtown just walking around, but after that, where I started connecting with you guys?
Where?
Snapchat.
Yes.
You guys are pretty big on Snapchat too.
Yes, and we got on that right in the beginning.
Yeah.
We luckily had a high school student who was working for me at the time.
Oh,
and
cool.
right away she was like, "You need to get on Snapchat." And I was like, do it today, go for it.
Yeah. And
then I learned a lot. I listened to a lot of Gary Vee too, and he was really pushing the Snapchat angle, so we worked on that really hard.
Yeah, that's cool. What's cool is that you allowed someone to come in and kind of tell you about what's hitting right now, and you listen. You didn't get all just on them and put your thumb on them and like, no, we're going to do it this way. You kind of allowed them to you say, go do that. Let's see what kind of results we get. So have you gotten sales out of that with Snapchat, people coming in and saying, hey, I've seen you on Snapchat besides me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people who engage with us on Snapchat, so a lot of back and forth conversations happen, so we kind of get that connection, even if it's just someone seeing a picture and they say, what's that price? Or even just something, as just getting to know someone through Snapchat.
Right.
Because we ended up talking to each other. And then we've kind of expanded that into the Instagram stories, when Instagram stories kind of was the new Snapchat.
Yeah. Yep. So this is me being curious. Where do you see most of the attention now? Instagram stories or Snapchat?
Instagram stories, we get a lot more views.
Yep. How do you do that? How do you, for anybody who's listening is like, ooh, just pulled out their paper and is about to write down notes. How are you getting more views on Instagram stories? What are you doing to execute that?
So we're making sure that we try to use location tags, so we get put in the stories for our area.
Yep.
And we tag people too, so that they hop over there. And then we interact with other stories. So we'll watch we follow a lot of our customers, and so we'll engage with them on their stories too.
Cool. Do you have so is it you that's going to engage with them on Instagram stories, or is it an employee?
It is. It's
everyone?
a lot. It's a lot of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's also the whole store. So we have an iPhone for our store phone.
Okay.
And Instagram, Snapchat, all of that is on that. So whoever's working at the time has full access to it, and they engage as well.
Gotcha. Is it set hours that they go on social media, or is it when downtime hits they just go and engage?
Yeah, when downtime hits, they can just go and start engaging and posting and things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome because a lot of people who listen to this are business owners, and they're looking to hack, right? They're looking to figure out what you're doing that's working. So I appreciate you sharing that. We have some people who just find the structured time to do that, but I think you missed out on the raw, the real, the now type of engagement that you can get when you have downtime or when you see an opportunity to tell your story within your business.
Yeah. Yeah, we specifically will be very raw and in the moment on Instagram and Snapchat.
Yeah.
But since we do that, then we pull back on some of the other ones. We're not as immediate on them.
Gotcha. Which ones do you pull back on?
Facebook, we're not as immediate. Just because actually we get a lot more engagement on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
And then we don't do a whole lot of Twitter right now, but we're such a visual business. We're kind of going more on the picture-centered ones. And then Pinterest is the next thing we want to tackle. But we're not quite
Did
there.
You bring on a new high school student to do Pinterest?
I need to. That would be
So if you're listening, and you're a high school student, no, that's cool. That's one area that I haven't jumped in either, and I've been told over and over to go into Pinterest. What have you been told about Pinterest that could work in your world?
The buyable pins. So you can have pins that directly connect to the product on your website. Because when people are on Pinterest, they're pinning mostly a lot of things they want to buy. You know, I want this, I want this.
They're building their own like bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like their wish list. So then when they go back, it has like price tag and all of that, and they can click on it and go right to your website and buy it.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to beat you. I'm gonna try to jump on there first.
That might make me do it faster, so.
I'm doing it this weekend, just heads up. That's cool. No, and I've always used Pinterest for my vision board. Do you know what a vision board is?
Yes, I have one in my office.
Do you?
Yeah.
Cool. So if you don't mind being a little transparent, what's on that vision board?
This year it's a lot of stuff about balance.
Balance?
Yes.
What type of balance?
So we've been open for about 3 years now, and I have been completely 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, trying to just really go all in.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that I'm a little bit better of a business owner when I do take time for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not working all the time.
Yeah. So how are you going to execute that? Have you sat down and like looked at a plan on how you're going to make that happen?
Yeah. Actually, I worked with a coach for a while,
Hey,
which is really great.
Awesome. Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we were selected for it, so we won it through a military entrepreneur program.
Nice.
And delegation's my biggest thing.
It's huge.
Yes, and I've been getting better at it, and just trusting if someone can do it 80% as well as me, I need to let someone else do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, you always want that, well, I could do it so good, but I can only do so many things. So finding the right people to delegate to.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because you do have your own flavor on how you're going to do things. That's what's brought up Pressed where it's at now. Now, when you build that standard for someone else to execute, right? So the model, the system on how you do it, they're executing it. They're going to do it better because that's their one thing. For you, it's 100 other different things. With them, it's learned like someone who has a bow, right? They're just doing that one. No, they're doing a ton of shots. Anybody who has a bow, I'm not saying. But if you just imagine that one person taking that one shot, right, leaving the pistol, leaving everything else aside, they've got the arrow, and that's all they're focusing on. They're gonna crush it at that. And if you would delegate, allow that one person to kind of run your standards, but that's the only thing they focus on, they're gonna find gaps on where they can execute some more flavor of Pressed in there to make it even at a higher level because it's the only thing they're focused on.
Yeah, I love that. That actually gets me thinking.
Yeah, well good. So if you didn't know, I'm a business development coach. So, but no, that's awesome. I love to hear that a coach helped you out though. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I think it gets so lonely when it's just yourself.
Yeah.
My husband can only listen to me so much and give
Right.
valuable feedback all the time.
Yeah.
So having that like sounding board, I felt like even if I'm just kind of doing most of the talking, I talk myself into, I figure it out on my own.
That's a good coach. A coach will ask the right questions where you self-realize what you need to do versus them like, this is what you need to do and pointing and like telling you what you need to do. Good coach is going to have you self-realize it for sure.
That's exactly what happened all the time. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I knew this the whole time.
I need to meet this person.
Yes,
Sounds like an
they're
awesome
in
person.
New York, Gotham Culture.
Gotham Culture. I'm
Yeah.
going to reach out to them.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I think that'd be cool.
Veteran owned.
Better known? Awesome. Cool. So what else with delegating and building that balance in your life? We know delegating is one leg of it. What else are you looking at to help you balance business and personal?
Yeah, so I have the Google Calendar that everyone has, but I love
calendars.
my paper planner.
Paper, okay.
Yeah, so I will sit down at the beginning of each week and transfer in all of my Google Calendar stuff, and then I'll look for gaps where I tell myself, I schedule my me time like I do an appointment.
Yeah.
And then that way I don't, because usually I would just leave it to like, oh, whenever I have extra time, but extra time never happens.
That's right. And you have to be more purposeful, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Some of the agents I'll talk to, and even other business owners, well, I know it sounds silly, but to time block, and that's what it sounds like you're doing.
Yes.
Yep, you're writing down, you're time blocking to time block for the next week.
Yeah, and I love time blocking, and some people get really anxious about it, but if I don't follow it exactly, I'm like, well, if I did it 60%, it's better than when I didn't do it at all. So.
High five on that
Yeah.
one. That's right. That's awesome. Okay, 'cause yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for. Is the calendar is huge leverage for someone to get more time back. And something that I've done personally is I've set 2 days within the month not counting weekends, like actually weekdays, on where it would be a why day, like that's my why for the week or for the month, and I would just do something I truly enjoy. It's really, really helped me out because you're going to find that a lot of people want to move in on that time.
Yes.
Everyone's going to want to move in on that time. And so how are you going to delegate? How are you going to respond to fight for that time that you deserve? I think it grows you as a leader and grows you as a business owner because you've put on the calendar, I will not be here, and the business still has to run, so what do I need to do? Yeah. And you get to relax. It's your day. Do whatever you want.
Exactly. And the hardest part for me is that we're open 7 days a week. So, even on the weekends, we're still working. There's still someone's going to call or text or and just knowing the store's open doesn't let me completely shut my mind off.
Right. No, and I agree. It's always going to sit in the back of your mind, especially when you're growing your own business. If you did, though, if you had one day to set aside for the month, what would you do? No business. But you can't say pressed. I figured something out with pressed. What would you do?
Read. I really like reading, like self-improvement books, things like that.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of them, but I never get to sit down and physically do like reading and things like that. So that would be a big one for me. It's just quiet time without people.
Yeah, right. What are the top 3 books that you would read during that time?
So right now I'm reading Crushing It.
Woohoo! Love that guy.
Yes, and then I'm not sure. I literally have a stack of books that I need to read that I've gotten from conferences and things like that.
Yeah.
There's one called Being Boss that just came out. We sell it in the store.
Gotcha. Is it a pink book? It's got
blue
like a
and
pink zebra or something?
It's like blue and pink, like gradient.
Oh, okay.
Shiny.
Okay, I messed that one up.
Yes, but that one is one I want to read, and it's about time management and stuff like that. I don't know, that still seems kind of work related, but...
No, I don't think so. I think once you've kind of grabbed time, right, by the arm or by the ankle or however, and now you control time, you do that through your calendar and time blocking, and that can work in your personal and your professional life. If you don't do that, your time will run you, and it will run you ragged. I mean, even in my personal life, we put everything on the calendar. So, no, that could easily work in your personal life for sure.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something I'm always getting better at. I know I'm not perfect yet.
I think there's always something to learn. I don't know if anybody ever get perfect at that. So one more book.
I just started, or I just put it on my phone, 168 Hours.
Oh, what's that about?
And that's about you have more time than you think. It's another time management book. But I listened to her speak at a conference and always wanted to read the book.
Who is it?
I can't remember off the top of my
Oh,
head.
you knew I was going to ask too. What's the book again? 168 days?
168 hours. That's how many hours are in a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she does, she had us do an exercise where for a whole week you write what you do every hour of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look, you realize you waste a lot more time than you think you do.
Yeah.
And people who say they work 60 to 80 hours a week really work 40 to 50 hours a week. And
Right. Yeah, and that's why I figured you had some type of training or even a conversation about that, because when you said you first started breaking down your calendar, what you do for the next week is you would find the gaps.
Yes.
Yep. Is that where that came from?
Yep, it is.
Yep.
I went to one of her workshops at a conference.
Yeah. It's so big. We do that in coaching as well. People will time block their personal life first, and then we'll find the gaps to shove the business stuff in. But you're right. It's all about the time. I'm big on time management too, so I love that. And a great book, The One Thing, by Jay Papasan and Gary Keller. That's a really good book on time management as well.
I think my coach sent me that one. I think I have.
Really?
Yes.
If you read that, can you do me a favor? Send me, through each chapter, the one thing that you really took away from it, if you decide to read that.
I will, for sure.
Okay? Because I think, that's really saved my butt. So I want to see what you got out of it as well. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so we're back in Pressed. Okay?
Yes.
So, Press is doing really well. Love Press. Where is it going next? Where do you see Press in the next 5 years?
That's a really good question. So, a lot of people ask if we're thinking about other locations and things like that. We really want to go all in on our one spot and really become, like, our vision that we kind of mapped out is to be like a destination retail store.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of, like, when you go to New Orleans, you can't go to New Orleans without going to Cafe du Monde.
Right.
So that place that, you know, everybody knows about, and we really draw people in from more than even just the Fayetteville area.
Right.
But there's so many people who come to visit Fayetteville where, you know, we're not like a tourist destination, but we kind of are with the military.
Right.
So kind of having that bigger brand recognition and brand loyal customers from all over.
Interesting. So would you strategically place Press in other military communities, or just like hopping towns like Nashville, or what does that look like?
I think very cultural places like
Cool.
like a Nashville, Asheville, things like that, because that's really our target market.
I think that's so cool. Because it's how cool. So in North Carolina, right? You have the mountains, you have the sandhills, you have flat, and then you have beach. And I think there's something cultural. I'm not saying this is what you should do, not at all. But this is how I started thinking. Like, we have so many places to go just down the street, kind of quote, if you think about it. And how cool would it be to run to Asheville, right? And I know some friends in Asheville, and I'll stay with them for free, and that won't cost a thing, and I have enough money for Pressed. But I'll go. It'd be cool to go there and see the flavor that Pressed brought in that store in Asheville.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And Asheville was the inspiration behind opening, is when we went shopping there. I was like, man, these places are so unique and so
Really?
different. Like, that's what we're missing in Fayetteville. Yeah, so Asheville is kind of where it all started.
Oh, interesting. So is that then? Now, when you crush it here, you know, not saying it would happen too fast, but would you say that that's the next spot you're looking at?
It's the next spot that we would like to be in, yes.
You heard it here first. It's so cool. Cool. Okay. Wow, that's where it started. So you were walking. I guess. Talk to me. Like, how did it start? Like, how did it start to resonate within you about all that?
Actually, so we took the trip to Asheville because I was getting so burnt out with the marketing and branding business.
Oh.
I hear that from a lot of people who work in that industry, that it's just a very intense kind of industry to be in. So
Yeah.
I took a vacation, and we stayed in a yurt, so completely no TV in there, anything like that. And we started walking around and just, I felt like all my creative juices were coming back. And we were just so inspired by all of the cool stories we heard and the cool brands there and like the art scene there. So we were just inspired by like what Asheville was doing in their downtown.
Yeah. Started to get inspired. Then what happened next? Did you start writing down all this stuff, or did you just kind of let it sit in your head?
Yeah, so I had a smaller creative outlet where I did letterpress stationery and had an Etsy store.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of started working on that a lot more. And so that's where Pressed came from, the name, because the inspiration was the old-fashioned letterpress, so kind of like the old art form of graphic design, because it was the typography by hand.
Yeah.
And so then it was just kind of in the back of my head, like, I don't know if I'll ever get this opportunity.
Yeah.
But this is what I would love to do someday. And then within a year, my opportunity presented itself.
That's crazy. That's awesome. It's really cool to hear. And I'm such a nerd when it comes to this stuff, because I'm excited. I'm excited that Press has this cool story that a lot of people may not have heard, right? But not only that, you saw a vision, you started to get excited about it. Like, that's life saying, okay, go in that direction. You're getting excited about it. There's some passion there. And then you executed. You actually went forward with it. Now you have a store that people love, and now you're talking about expanding back into the place that first gave you that first thought.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
never
cool.
even thought about it like that, but yeah, it is coming full circle.
That is so cool. So, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you let me know when that happens so I can be there?
Oh, yes,
Like
definitely.
the cutting of the ribbon? That'd be so cool. How'd you feel, and now going back to that, how'd you feel when they first cut the ribbon to Press downtown? Because I saw the picture.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah.
Yes. I really, when you think you're going to do something someday, but it's kind of just that thing that sits in the back of your mind. I really couldn't believe from when I thought of it to, in a year time, I was actually doing it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of surreal, like, wow, this is happening.
Yeah. That's so cool. What do you guys have? I know that we said 5 years from now you got you're looking at different places to expand into. What if we were to stretch it a little bit longer, a little bit more, and say 10 years from now? Say presses in those cultural places that you truly enjoy, right, and that you think would be a good fit for both sides. What about 10 years? What about past that? Where's Pressed? Where's Ashley? Where's all that?
That's a really good question. I think we really want to be, like we said, we have brand loyal customers from all over the world, which is something that I really love. Like people tell me I was wearing a press shirt in Germany, and I saw someone else wearing a press shirt in Germany.
Whoa.
And we were like, and that's how we started talking. And I had heard the same story in Hawaii. Someone was wearing a Chubby Unicorn shirt, and someone else from Fayetteville ran up to them like, "Are you from Fayetteville?" So to achieve that, we really want to also push our online store and online presence.
Gotcha.
I think a lot of people still don't know that pretty much everything in our store is also in our website store.
Right.
So that would kind of help us really get out there faster beyond just the little communities that we kind of base in.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people, especially here, move away, and then they stay online customers as soon as they leave here. So that's one way we really want to grow too.
Yeah. So how do you do that? How do you build a community online? Like you build it in a physical location?
Through social media is really how we find like the customers, because we still want to give them that experience.
Yeah.
This isn't like just Amazon where you're going to order stuff.
Right.
We want them to engage and interact with us, and the best way to do that, not in our physical store, is through Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Have you, and this is me just kind of thinking through this, is there a Pressed group, like a Facebook group?
Yes.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll add you.
Yeah, please. Didn't know it existed. Is it a secret one?
I think it's a closed one, so you can see it, and then you have to get accepted into it.
Yeah. So what is there a barrier of entry? Like, hey, listen, should do the secret knock? Like, is there something that you have to do before you get in there, or what does that look like?
No, usually it's a friend referring you in there.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So people invite people.
Love
yeah,
it.
and the only rule is not to post spam.
Yeah, cool, awesome. While you're in there, because that's a good way, right? And the way that I'm trying to work with this as well is because I love that you want to build a community that's past the physical location in order to stretch to the Hawaiis and the Germanys and stuff like that. So how do you build that same presence online? And it sounds like you're already doing it in a group setting. What kind of conversations go on there to keep that flavor going?
Yeah, so we will have people help give us new ideas for products. So,
empowering them.
Yes.
I love it. Okay.
If we're going to bring in a new line, we're not sure what to bring in, sometimes we'll post things and be like, what do you guys like?
So is it a poll?
We'll do polls a lot.
Cool.
Also just like open comments. And actually what's really cool is I don't even always have to be the one starting conversations. Some people will post pictures of themselves in their shirts in the group when they're like traveling or something. So the community kind of engages with each other there.
How many people do you have in the community right now?
I think it's about 1,800 right now.
1,800.
Yeah.
Solid. Cool. And it's ever growing, I'm sure.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we need to get on that a little bit more and bring people in so they know about it. But yeah, this was really our core group of supporters who kind of got sucked into the first.
That's awesome. And I love that you're not just like peddling products. In essence, you're asking for engagement, you're asking for opinions, and where the consumer feels like they have some buy-in on your business too.
Yeah, we just did a question where the females were telling me what kind of tank tops they liked, so that when we make our summer shirts, they can kind of tell us what styles they want to see, what colors they want to see.
Can't wait to rock it. Did a design win in that conversation?
Yeah, so we learned that there was a vast array of preferences.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely had some winners for skinny people, bigger people, different categories, but it was clear to see who liked what kinds of things more.
Gotcha. Okay. So what will we see summertime pressed?
More tank tops.
More tank tops?
We're working on some new design. We're adding more colors to our line. A lot of customers, we do a lot of black, gray, neutral kind of colors.
It's my world.
Yes, mine too.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of breaking out of my personal shell, and we're doing more colorful shirts, oranges, greens.
Do you guys design them?
So myself and one of our employees, our creative manager, so she designs a lot of them too.
Nice. Okay, so if we were to percentage-wise look at the store, what percentage is your design and the other employee?
So I would say about 20% are just me.
Right.
And then the rest of the 80% is herself, or we sit down and we do a design meeting like twice a month or so.
Really?
So we'll go through designs and we'll kind of go back and forth, but then I've delegated that, and
Awesome.
so she'll take the idea to completion.
So I didn't know that, and that's my fault. I feel like I thought maybe that you guys were ordering some of that stuff and putting it in the store. Like maybe it just came from somewhere else.
Oh no, yeah. So we do all the shirts ourselves, and then we just started working with a select few boutiques where we wholesale to them, so they're purchasing it from us to resell.
So cool, because anytime I go somewhere, I want to know more about the local versus the McDonald's or the Burger King or the like something that's kind of all over the place. I want to know more local. So it's cool to know that 100% of that your store pressed is made in-house, like the designs and everything else. And that's my fault. I didn't even know that. It's cool to know that if I were to buy something from there, and I guess that's why I have people in Hawaii running up to each other and say, hey, listen, are you from Fayetteville? Because that's where it was designed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
All of the shirts we design, we do have one line of shirts from another military spouse who does great grins and grays. And then we have our gift items from some other brands, but we also even design a lot of our own cards. Yeah, there's a lot of pressed, designed, exclusive products.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So you're starting to move into more of dealing with colors. What have you seen that's come out of your creative side dipping more into colors?
We've gotten a lot of great feedback on it, but we always still keep it within like a color family or scheme. So we want to be really intentional about the whole design part of it, because being a designer in my past life, and I guess still this one too,
Right.
is we still, we're not going to throw it on a bright pink shirt with bright green lettering because somebody just asked for it. So we're very conscious of keeping our style. So we have our own kind of signature style. And so we just try to find a way to change up our own style, but still keep it that pressed look and feel.
For sure. And that's why the consumer loves you anyways, is because of your flavor. So when they throw some hints out there and you take it, for you not to just run it how they said it is probably the win play, because for you to get it, put your own style on it, put your own flavor on it, they're getting back what they loved about you in the first place.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Yeah, we've had a few instances where someone was very specific in what they wanted, and then we do it, and they're like,
4 or 5 paragraphs,
it's not the
and
same.
you're like, oh my gosh. Right, exactly. It's not the same.
Yeah, they're like, doesn't seem like a press shirt. And I was like, yeah, that is a whole process in itself.
Exactly. Because I have a few questions, but before I read them, how long does it take, and this may vary, but how long does it take from thought in my mind to on the shelf and pressed?
On average, it could take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks.
Whoa.
So we'll sketch and do a ton of different sketches and designs, and then when we kind of like one, we'll make a few shirts and even do it all at different sizes, and then we'll even put it on a few different colors and styles, and then compare all those, and then pick our ultimate favorite one at the end.
Wow, 4 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, so it's definitely a process, but that's how we just make sure that it's exactly how we want it to be.
Yeah, what have you seen has been the best seller in press? Like, every time someone comes in, it seems like this one's selling the most. What is that?
Save the chubby unicorns.
Save the chubby unicorns.
And that's the one I see all over the place too.
That's an awesome one.
Yes, that was one of our first ones too.
Yeah? Oh, cool. What about the second one?
The Fayetteville one is really popular.
Like the F-A-Y and then underneath it E-T-T?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, we see that a lot. And I think that's just because there hasn't been a lot of Fayetteville shirts out there.
Right.
Yes, that's definitely the favorite. And then recently, No Problema, which is a llama with sunglasses, has been topping the charts.
This is the best. So guys, anyone who's listening, like, you hear what's in the store, just imagine what we haven't mentioned, right? This is only 3 things. You need to go in there and experience Pressed. But I have a few questions for you, okay?
Awesome.
All right, so what do you believe separates excellent from average?
I definitely think drive and motivation, but then discipline on top of that. So a lot of people are really motivated and they can go in 100 different directions, but to be excellent, you have to execute and really be disciplined and actually doing the not so fun stuff with the fun stuff.
Do you think people get a little bogged down in the not so fun stuff and decide to just walk away?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's one or the other. They get bogged down in that and it's not fun anymore, or they only focus on the fun stuff and all of the details kind of crumble. Maybe it's bad customer service or a bad hire or, cash flow management. So you have to keep that balance all the time.
Yeah, which is big in your world right now.
Yeah.
You're reading a lot about balance, and you have the vision board as well. But yeah, I think that's important, and I want people to see the opportunity in that, though. When people decide this is not fun, they don't really want to walk through the mud, and they leave. And a large majority of people do that. So, like, if anybody who's listening has an idea, just know that a lot of people have had that idea and may have even executed, but they started walking through mud. And they started realizing, oh, I'm starting to get stuck. Oh, and I'm starting to sink a little bit. And the opportunity is that a lot of people leave. And if you just keep rucking through the mud, you're going to make it and you'll be fine.
Yeah, we've had many days where we're cleaning toilets and
that sounds fun.
have broken air conditioners and
Yeah, the not so fun stuff. All right, so do you have a favorite failure that you believe has set you up for success?
I do, and I wouldn't even call, I'd never even call them failures because they always push you to be better.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that my branding and advertising business was a failure.
Okay.
But what it did was, because we were really successful and we are actually growing faster than I could handle. We had too many clients too fast, and I was saying no to people, which is always great.
Right.
But it quickly made me realize it wasn't my passion. So it kind of made me be like, I need to do what I want to be doing. Because if I keep pushing on this, when I looked out to my vision, there was no vision that made me be like, that's how I want to live my life forever. Do I become a giant agency? I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Do I stay small and boutique? I don't want to do that either. And then I was kind of like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this at all.
That's awesome. I mean, you went in there and you decided that it wasn't for you. And I think what's cool with what you just said is that you started looking in the future of where this could go, and nothing about it excited you.
Yeah, because if you don't have that vision on picturing where you're going to be 10 years out, then you're stuck in your day-to-day, and it's just another job.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's a good way to find out if you're in what you need, what you're in right now, is that where you should be. Look 5-10 years out. If you don't like it, if you don't like how it looks, you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Whoa! Yep. You should write a book.
Yeah,
that's so
with all
cool.
my free time.
Yeah, right. Time block it, man. All right, so what have you gotten better to saying no to?
I got better at, that's a big thing, because I actually have gotten better at saying no a lot, which is really hard for me. That's the hardest part, is because I always want to help people and do things.
Yeah.
But I get asked to volunteer on groups and committees and events and things like that all the time.
Yeah.
But I've learned that I'm going to be, if the business isn't doing well, I can't be helping all the people I want to help and doing all the things we want to do.
That's right.
So I definitely try to not spread myself too thin anymore.
Right.
Even when it hurts to say no. And I'll still even meet with people who email me that they want to, pick my brain over coffee.
Right.
But we've gotten to the point where I'll get 5 or 6 emails like that a week. And if I said yes to every one, I'd be doing it every day.
That's right.
And I'm not a business coach by trade, so.
Yeah. So what, now this is me being a little selfish, what had you say yes to this?
I know you. That's one.
Okay.
And I'm more likely to say yes to people that I see them in our store and they interact with our brand and they understand our brand.
Yeah.
Because I've been asked to be on other podcasts and stuff before, but it would be someone who's never even been in our store.
Right.
So I knew that you understood what we're doing.
Yep.
And who we are.
Yeah.
And I always see your smiling face downtown. So.
Yay! Yay! I love that, and that makes me feel good, and I appreciate that. And the reason why I wanted this podcast is because I know a little bit about the story. However, I want to put it in a microphone, and I want it to really get sent all over the city. And that's the idea of the podcast, is that as people listen, they got an in on your story and they get to hear it. And where you're going, it's so cool to know that maybe down the road you'll be rolling right back into Asheville, where it first started. So, and I want people to know that. I want people to, like you said, when they do a tour with someone who just came into town and they know your story really well and they're walking in your story, you're like, good gosh, I don't even know them. And they're crushing my story right now. It's great.
Yes, yeah, and every time I tell our story, something new comes out. So I know there's just so much to be told that I teach myself talking about it.
That's so cool, too. Okay, all right. Let's see. What profession other than your own would be fun to attempt?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I love problem solving.
Okay.
So I always told my husband if I didn't own a business, I would want to be some sort of behavioral science. There's the show on it, Criminal Minds, how they do that, where they kind of break down how people think and things like that, and profile. I would love that, because consumer science is what I went to college for, and it's all about the psychology of the consumer and why people do what they do.
Yeah, that's so cool. So here's a kind of a personal question. Growing up, did you look at the logos and did you look at the way advertisements would have a slogan or it comes shooting across the screen, or what? Did you start looking at stuff like that at a young age? Like, why are they doing that?
Yeah, actually, I went to state competition. I always forget this happened to me for desktop publishing, because that was the day before the Adobe products. That? Yes.
Yeah.
So I was into desktop publishing in the FBLA, the Future Business Leaders of America, when I was in high school. So really young, and then I sold Avon, so I was always hustling.
A hustler.
Yes, I would sell stuff at garage sales. I was always very driven and business-minded.
Yeah. When you went to the garage sale, were you thinking like, oh, if only they placed that product in front of this other to really show it off, they would have already sold it by now? Like, do you?
I do that now all the time.
Yeah.
But I just sold little head scarves, and I literally made a giant display for it.
Yeah.
And so it was the front and center thing. And I took a big piece of cardboard and we pinned them up there, and
and it sold.
Yeah, and that was when I was in, elementary school, I think. So.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so cool because it's in you from a young age. You just need to foster it, and you've done really well fostering it. So that's cool.
Yeah. My dad was an entrepreneur. He had a cleaning business. He was a salesman too, so door to door, crystal, and then with no college degree or anything.
Yeah.
He went to Procter & Gamble into pharmaceutical sales and was one of the top pharmaceutical salesmen in his region.
Woo.
Before he retired.
Was that in North Carolina?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay. Cheeseheads, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Go Packers.
Oh gosh. All right. That's cool. So just off the cuff a little bit. So I went. We took our dogs to the vet, and you know that they have pharmaceutical reps that go there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. They said actually there's this new pill for the dog, and I was like, wait, how do you know that? Like I didn't even realize they've got their own pharmaceutical reps that take them out to lunch and talk about new pills and whatever else that dogs and cats and other pets need.
Oh yeah, the pharmaceutical industry is everywhere now.
Yeah, of course. Like, why would they miss that market? But I didn't even
Exactly.
think about it. And people think they look at their pets as children, so it's a good space to be in.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. So you got a dog, cat?
2 of them. Two
dogs?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. We got 2 dogs too. What kind of dogs?
They're rescues. So
Oh,
lab
cool.
mix and border collie mix.
We got 2 lab mixes.
They're the best.
Yeah.
I love labs.
Well, one's the best. The other's a headache a little bit. But yeah, no, great. And the next dog that we get, we're gonna rescue because these weren't truly rescued. They're bought off Bragg Boulevard. They were kind of rescued.
You did rescue them, yeah.
But never went to a true rescue and did that process. That's the next thing we're gonna do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you guys are doing something. Beer and dogs. No, it's not what it's called, but it's
Yes. Adoptions and drafts.
adoptions and drafts.
At
Yep.
the Mash House.
At the Mash House, yeah. I saw that. I put that on my calendar, June 9th or something, but it's coming up.
Yes, June 9th.
Is that June 9th?
Yes,
Gosh.
12 to 4.
Whew, yeah. So maybe we'll show up there and see what that looks like.
Oh yeah, we'll be there selling beer shirts and dog bandanas.
Awesome. Very cool. You know your market, right?
Yeah.
Bring beer shirts and dog bandanas. All right. So here's the next question. Okay, purchases of less than $100 that have most improved your life.
Definitely my planner.
High five again.
Yes, because I love my paper planner and being able to sit down and do that every day.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then, gosh, everything I could think of is over $100.
Well, the planner is an excellent one.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it came to you too easy, so search a little bit more. What's the next one?
Paying for the $2.99 for the repost app to not have that little tag on the bottom on Instagram. So when you do the repost, and you know how in the little bottom corner it'll put like who you reposted from?
So it's a service that reposts for you.
Yes,
But-
without that little thing on the bottom, you have
Gotcha.
to pay the upgrade. So many
Yes.
people I see will not pay the $2
Yeah.
to get the one that doesn't put the little thing there, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah. So it's not only a pet peeve, it's a pet peeve, and you've eliminated that from your life. Okay, got it. Okay, all right. 2 more questions. What question do you have for me?
That's a really good one.
I know. I was like, I'm gonna beat everyone up with questions. They should have an opportunity to throw one at me, so that's why I threw it in there.
Yeah, so as a business consultant
Yeah.
and coach, what is the most common problem you see entrepreneurs face?
2 actually. One is definitely time. No, 3. One is definitely time, so we get deep on their calendar. A lot of them like paper calendar, which is fine, as long as they know it's going to be an added step to add it to their Google Calendar. The reason we like Google Calendar is because you can share it with your admin, so they're planning stuff for you. It's another just piece of leverage. So time and what to do with it. Number 2 is database. So keeping a database of all your past clients, new clients, all that coming into your business, and systematically talking to them through follow-up, through discounts, through the thing that we have coming up for the dogs and beer, right? Like having that touch to your database to invite more people out in your group, right? Like how it's cool to have that now response, but how can we systematically talk to them on a quarterly basis, right? Like what does that look like? So that's a struggle, time's a struggle, and the biggest of all, hiring. Hiring is the biggest. It's looking for talent, someone who wants to build an empire just as much as you want to build that empire. Maybe on a different leg within your empire, but either way, that leg's going to be an empire. So finding people, talent, and it's a numbers game. You know, you'll find 1 out of 100. And I was just talking to another agent that's growing a team here. I said, you got to kind of look at it as SF a little bit, because you have Army, right? And then the SF has standards that you have to, you know, selection, you have to go through a few things, right? You just don't put anyone in SF. Look at that like your business, right? You need standards, expectations. What is this person going to hit? And just understand 99 out of 100 won't hit it. So, but that one will carry your team and your business harder than you ever thought. But it's hiring. Those 3 things I would say. Does that
And
make
what's
sense?
the hardest one for you? That you struggle with, because you always wonder what the experts still have.
Yeah, no, that's probably the best question I've ever been asked on the podcast. I got my calendar down, database down. I would still say I need help. So I want someone to look at these podcasts, chop them up, make them into smaller sound bites, even the video. Some of the cool stuff that you said, build that into a blog, you know, describe it. I need a creative to do all of that. So delegating and hiring. Delegating. So I need someone to do that, and I've not yet focused on making that happen. Great question.
I
Great
know
question.
exactly what you mean
Yeah.
too, yes.
So that's a great question, and that made me so uncomfortable. I want to end this podcast. No, that's a really good. But that's my struggle right now. I would say that's my internal struggle right now.
Yeah, and I followed Gary through a lot of his stuff, and he had the same kind of story where he had the people come in and follow him with the video cameras and started
Right.
delegating a lot of the little clips and things like that, which is really cool when you watch someone give the advice and then follow it and do it.
Exactly. So I've taken a lot from Gary Vee and implemented it, but at the same time, that's the problem, right? I'm implementing it. And to have someone, like you said, kind of just follow everything. Because even, what if you said a great point and the picture was caught like this? So anybody go to YouTube, you'll see what I'm doing. If you're listening, you have no idea. But holding out my hand like you're about to say something powerful, and then put that phrase that you just said, you know, on the podcast earlier, quoted by you. And that could be hit with the Instagram. Really got good stuff on LinkedIn. It spreads really well on LinkedIn. But there's platforms that accept that. But I'm the one doing it. I'm the one screenshotting it. You know, going to Paint, like making that happen. But to have someone else execute that would be great.
Yes, and those people are hard to find too.
Yep. Numbers game, talent, numbers game for sure. All right. So what question do you have for everyone listening?
My favorite question to ask people, I do it in some of my classes too, is what's your favorite brand and why? I love hearing people's stories on why they love a certain brand. It always opens my eyes to what things a company does that really makes people like them. And it's usually sometimes not even about their product or their what they do or their service. Sometimes it'll be, you know, I like this makeup company because they don't test on animals, or I like, you know, this company because they treat their employees well. You start to learn that people care about more than price and, you know, just getting a service done. They care about the why behind companies.
Yeah, I heard someone say price is only a challenge in the absence of value. So whatever value that you're adding, even if it being you're not testing on animals, you know, price is no longer an issue at that point. You know, that's awesome. So now I got 2 extra questions. One, what's the brand that you do hear the most?
I hear, especially here when I teach classes, a lot of people say Chick-fil-A because they're so vocal about their values.
Yeah.
And they tell that story, and they really stand by them.
Yeah.
And they don't waver from it at all.
Yeah.
So I think that one, they made such an impact, and so people know that story.
Yeah. So huge. So last night, the wife, I don't know why I say it like that. The wife, she told me that, and this could be false, So for anybody who's listening that's from Chick-fil-A, I don't know. But they are going to raise the hourly rate to $17 an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I said, and I asked, coach guy, I was like, so why do you think that is? Asking the wife, right? And we had a discussion about it, and what we come up with is that, would you agree that their standards are high?
Yes. Their customer service ones especially.
Yes, customer service is amazing. They don't say thank you, right? What do they say?
I really don't go there that much, but I don't eat a lot of fast food.
Yeah. They've got a script with everything they've done, and their service is super high, right? And I'm like, go for it, because here's the thing: if you can't reach the standard, they're gonna let you go, 100%, because there's no one in Chick-fil-A that is a lower standard than the next person standing next to them. They're all at a higher standard. So if you want $17 an hour, meet the standard, right? Meet that strong standard that we love in customer service, and then you'll be awarded with $17 an hour.
And that's great. And I know that they really empower their employees to make decisions.
Yep.
Like I've heard stories like from my friends personally where they said, I was at Chick-fil-A, I went and my wallet wasn't in my car and I didn't have any money, and they ended up giving me my food, and then I came back and paid for it, but no other place would have done that.
Yeah.
And you have to have someone who can make a good decision, because
Yes.
you can't have people
That's
giving
right.
away food, but if you can trust that they're going to do it at the right time,
Yeah.
then you don't need that rule where, no giving away food. You can trust them to judge the situation.
That's right. Yeah, and then you empower the employee, and the employee feels really good because now they have buy-in that you trust them.
Yeah, and they want to impress you by making the right choice.
Yep, agreed. So I thought that was interesting, and I was like, go for it. Meet that standard, you would be awarded with $17 an hour. Like, I love that.
And your employees want to stay for that.
Yep, exactly. All right, so the next question is, and we'll end on this. I'm sorry, this is going so good. So, but for you, what's your favorite brand? When you ask yourself that.
Yes, hands down, Johnny Cupcakes. I'm not sure if you ever heard of him. He's a t-shirt brand too.
Okay.
So when I was in my branding business, I went to New Orleans for the Inc. Magazine Grow Co. conference.
Okay.
I went as a military entrepreneur, and I heard him speak. He was the one speaker there who, just changed the way I thought about everything, about brand expectations, about, loving your customers. And he was just doing something so different and so cool that he inspired me. And what he does is he has a t-shirt bakery. So his logo is like a cupcake and crossbones. But when you walk into the store, it smells like a bakery. There's ovens. He goes all in on brand experience, and really engaging with his customers. And now he has such a cult-like following. People get his logo tattooed on them.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so he knew I was a huge fan. After that day, he changed my life. And then I went to another conference 2 years later, and he was speaking again, and I was so excited. And he knew I was there and came and sat by me in the audience because he knew I was such a big fan. And then his sister ended up being my mentor, because they had a mentor program for military at this conference.
Whoa.
And then I got to go out to Boston the next year and visit the store. And so they have just been so inspirational to me for such a big company to be, talking to someone like me. And they're just so humble and just a great family-owned business.
Yeah, that's all, and I think that's important for larger businesses to reach out to people as they try to connect with them on Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. And you won't be able to reach out to all of them, but you need to touch them. You need to reach out to them. You need to have that conversation. That's cool. So, do you see yourself ever being on stage with him? Like you're teaching something, and there he is. Like you're teaching something about Prest. And he's up there teaching something about his gig, but either way, you both have shared the stage at one time.
I would love that. I would.
Challenge you.
Yes.
To make that happen.
Oh, that would be great. And I always see him. I look up to him, so I can never see myself on the same level. But I guess I should. That's not something that I can't achieve.
You should bring a stool with you. Or a step, so when you're on stage with him, you just step a little bit higher.
I think he's a lot shorter than me.
Oh, is he? Oh, you win by default?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, Yeah, that'd be cool. So I'm probably gonna keep up with you on that and having that conversation, seeing what that looks like, and how to get into a venue where you can talk about some of your experiences and the brand that you're building, because you're very passionate about it and you're doing something different here that everyone has kind of been attracted to very quickly. And I think you have something to say, obviously, even here in the podcast. So that could totally happen. I just want to see it happen. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you give me a ticket?
Of course.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Cool. Well, I really appreciate you stopping by and being on the podcast. And for anybody who's listening, if you have any questions, even the question that she asked you guys, just comment. We'll reach out to you. We'll see what that looks like. Comment on video or audio. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Fun. You rock, Ashley. Woohoo!